Welcome. What's your name?
Paige Lee.
Okay. Because I asked everyone, do you have a middle name?
Paige is actually my middle name.
Is it a first name?
It is. My first name's Catherine with a C.
Okay. All right. You go by Paige. Okay. Well, welcome. So, how did you get started riding? Is the primary question.
Well, I actually started riding downhill.
Okay. Okay.
I grew up in Abingdon, Virginia, which is near the Virginia Creeper Trail.
Okay.
And my brother, sister, and I meet every year with our families in Damascus to go riding on the Creeper Trail.
Okay.
So for those who've ridden it before, one of the most popular things to do is take a shuttle to the top and essentially coast down for 17 miles on a rented bike. So started doing that, and then my brother's an avid biker. Mm-hmm. My sister definitely had biked more than I had at that point, and she said, well, if you actually want to pedal, we can continue on past Damascus to Alvarado and turn around. So we started kind of adding that on, and every year we'd go, I kept saying, I'm this is the year I'm going to come back, and one of these days I'm going to ride up the mountain with my brother. And that year kept getting pushed back, but finally, I guess about 2 years ago, I bought a bike and started biking and biking a little more, and then eventually my sister and I ended up riding up the mountain in 2019, towards the end of 2019.
Okay.
And then that's kind of ever since then, just a little bit more, a little different.
Okay. Yeah. What was that? The first bike you bought, was that a road bike, mountain bike?
No, it was a Live Rove, which is a hybrid. It weighs about 150 pounds. It's a very heavy. I loved that bike, though. I really loved that bike. It is a heavy bike, but it was great for the trails, especially going downhill. A little clunky going up, kind of heavy. But I rode that up until the middle of 2020, and I'd gotten a lot faster, but I just felt like I was fighting the bike. So I was ready, and I talked to my brother and said, all right, what do I buy?
Yeah.
So I bought a Specialized Diverge gravel, which is a gravel bike.
Yep.
And that was, again, great for a while until my first ride with RABA, and I realized this is not the bike for that.
Yeah.
So I ultimately bought a road bike, a Tarmac.
Okay. Tarmac. Is that the endurance, or is that the race? I think Tarmac's the race frame. Yeah. I think. Did you go to a bike shop for the Tarmac, or did you buy that used secondhand?
No, I went to Carytown Bikes in Greengate.
Okay. You feel like you got good service when you went there?
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. Do you still ride gravel at all?
I do. I love rails to trails. That's my favorite. Not like single track, hardcore, full suspension, but rails to trails. I really like those trails and riding gravel. Most of them are gravel, or a lot of them are. Okay.
I'm hoping that gravel happens for me.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
I've heard. I don't think a mountain bike is going to happen, but gravel. As soon as the bike comes available, I hope to pull the trigger and actually get me a gravel bike and go out there and try it. But we'll see. That means buying another bike.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so you have the Diverge and then the Tarmac. Let me make sure I have that right. Okay. How'd you meet? So you ride with RABA now? Mm-hmm. How did you encounter RABA? Like, what's the...
So, I live out in Hanover County, and a lot of the biking I was doing in the beginning was on the Capitol Trail, because I didn't know anywhere else around here that was safe to ride. I didn't feel safe on the roads. Yep. And almost every time I would drive, because I would take country roads back to the Capitol Trail, I would see this group of 4 bikers biking on Old Church Road. And, just watching them, it was 4, I'm going to guess A-, A+, somewhere, super fast men riding together in a team and just watching them in the pace line and working through, working together and riding. And I just thought, I really want to be part of that. I want to do that at some point. So I'd see them every week, and then I would ride out of Charles City Courthouse a lot. I'll start there. And one day I was there, and there was this huge group of bikers there from all over, and they were biking the roads out and around there. And I was just like, all right, this is it. So I just Googled bike clubs and just kept, there's got to be something around here. And that's how RABA popped up. And I went to a new member ride, and that was that.
Okay, all right. I'll have to ask more people, how do they find RABA? Because I know most of the bike shops, we have flyers and things like that there. So you Googled them. I think that's about what I did as well. It's just kind of like looked around, because I didn't start going to bike shops until later. Yeah.
Well, when I used to run, and I lived in Hoboken, New Jersey, and I was a member of the Hoboken Harriers, or the Ho-Has. And so I thought they were runners with a drinking problem, or drinkers with a running problem. But I thought there's got to be a biking version of the Harriers, something like that. So I just kind of started there and just eventually found RABA.
Okay. Are you still just like doing the rides you see in the emails, or have you kind of met a group that kind of does the ride and you enjoy? Like, what's your...
I started with that, just where I could find a weekly ride that I could work into my schedule. And then over the summer did Triple Threat.
Right. Yep.
So did that, which was great. I learned so much from doing that, from that experience. And did the 3 rides.
3 events? Okay. Which event did you like the most of the 3? You're allowed to like all of them. But was there one that stuck out between? And the 3 events are Climb to Conquer Cancer,
Heart of Virginia,
and Tour to Midnight.
Tour to Midnight.
Okay, yeah.
Probably Heart of Virginia. I really liked the course of Tour to Midnight, but unfortunately, when I think that there were more riders than they expected, so it was a little bumpy. But the course itself and the event, I would definitely do it again.
Okay.
But then I did a Farm to Fork Gran Fondo. Okay. At the end of October. That's probably my favorite ride yet.
Okay. Where was that? You said where?
It was in almost to West Virginia, in Middletown, Virginia, near Strasburg. So it's through Shenandoah area.
Hilly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you're not avoiding the hills, so you started off riding up a mountain, right? Was it the ride?
Yeah, but still figuring out how to do it right.
Just shift the gears and see how your legs feel going up those things. Okay. The Tour to Midnight. I enjoy the group that shows up for that one. And I like the after party. I don't say after party. But
it's very nice.
It's a nice after event. It felt a bit safer this year than last year. So that ends up sticking out a lot for me. And the rides, it's not 100 miles, so it's easy to go out there and do the ride and still have a day afterwards. Okay, all right. So Heart of Virginia, who'd you ride with? Do you know? Did you ride with the Threat to Triple That team, or?
No, not. Well, I rode for a little while with Melanie Britton, and that was great. It was, I had been riding a good portion of it by myself, and then we ran into each other and we rode for a little while together, and then of course she went on.
Did you do the Century?
I did. I didn't finish the Century, but I started the Century.
Okay. Can I ask what happened? You said like some challenges.
I'm just gonna say wardrobe malfunction.
Okay. Those are not great. But the ride will be back next year.
That's right.
So you want to try that again? Do you feel like, despite not finishing, right? Just fine. Do you feel like the training helped? Like
because I did the cap to cap in May. It was actually on Mother's Day.
Okay.
And it was kind of impulsive. to do that. Signed up. I'd been riding a lot, and I thought,
why not?
Why not? If I can't do it, I know where my car is. And this year it was, you could start anywhere you wanted. It was there weren't waves, so you could start any time you wanted. So I kind of decided to place my car at Charles City Courthouse, do it on Mother's Day because I figured it wouldn't be as crowded, and it wasn't. And I knew I could do 60 miles. So I thought, all right, if I get back to my car around mile 60, and then I decide what to do. Right. So I did finish that. I did that all solo. You really get to know yourself 100 miles by yourself.
Yeah.
You can be a little tiresome to yourself.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience, but definitely, even though I wasn't able to finish it, going into the other rides more prepared.
Okay.
I highly recommend that.
So it was like I'm going to do this ride this weekend. It was like, is that for the cap to cap? It was like you said, it was impulsive.
About a week and a half before, maybe 2 weeks, I decided, I'd been riding about 60 miles a week.
Okay.
Before that.
Okay.
And just thought, I'm going to at least try.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, So wait, was it on the same day? I can't recall how that operated. Was it all supposed to do it on the same day, or was it just
no? It was over 3 days, so you could pick your either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and I picked the Sunday, which turned out to be Mother's Day, and and it turned out to be pretty light on the trail.
Okay. Do you prefer solo rides or like riding with the group? Like what's your?
It depends.
Okay.
I really do like riding by myself.
Okay.
But I also like riding with a group.
Okay.
Today I rode with Michelle Myers. We actually met each other when she picked me up at Heart of Virginia.
Okay.
So she was my SAG driver. And she's coming back from an injury. So we rode together and just, chatted, very social ride, and that was really nice. And
nice.
So I mean, I really like both. It's just kind of what I'm in the mood for.
Okay. Okay. I know some folks that will not do solo rides, and then some who just don't want to ride with the group for whatever reason.
I think it's because I ran for so long. I was I used to run almost every day, and what I really liked about running is typically if I was running outside, I wouldn't listen to music, partly for safety reasons, but also it was just listening to my breath. Just it was very almost like meditative for me running, and clear my head. So I kind of have that same feeling about riding. Okay. When I want to ride by myself, I really enjoy it because it is, it's hard to think about all the nonsense going on in your life because you're focusing on what you're doing and, maybe the scenery or whatever, but it's a good way to clear your head.
I agree. Doing the solo rides is enjoyable. I don't want to call it meditative, but you get out there, you're on a long road, and you can enjoy your own company.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd ask, to understand it. So who's Michelle? Who's Michelle Myers? She anyway. So there's a question of your gear that you take with you, right? Your cycling kit and things like that. When you started, did you find like the perfect kit to wear when you first started like road biking, or did you like trial and error? Like how's that?
Bit of trial and error.
Okay.
Bit of trial and error.
Did you like chat with others about like finding out the right gear to wear, brands to go with? Like how this
kind of. I mean, my sister and I were riding together a lot over the summer, last summer, and so it would be kind of, one of us would find something and say, "Hey, I really like," So there was a lot of just this works, this doesn't.
Yeah.
But that's basically it. But Pearl gear for me is
Pearl Zoom,
that's I'm pretty loyal because it just works well typically.
Yeah, finding a brand that their sizing and their designs like works. I've definitely told some people, like, if you find a thing that fits, get 2 of them,
Right.
3 of them, kind of thing. Better to have the extra. And I have 3 pairs of the same Gore bib shorts. Because the first pair I got was like, these fit great. I should just get another pair. And so I do. So you go on your rides, and you learned a lot with the training team. What's your snacks like? Like, what do you take when you go on a ride? What do you like to take along with you on your rides? So has that changed?
Oh, that's changed a lot. I have in the last year or 2 become hypoglycemic.
Okay.
So it has made that very challenging to try to figure out what's the right amount of sugar, what's not too much sugar. It's been trial and error. What I have found is most of the energy block, goos, that type of, even noon, my stomach just does not like at all.
Okay.
So I've had to switch that a lot. Scratch is about the only sports drink that doesn't make me feel kind of nauseous.
Okay.
And I take dates or trail mix, but bananas, pretty much anything natural.
Okay.
Not the kind of
sugars.
not the just concentrated little blocks of energy. I just can't do it.
Yeah, that can be tough for folks. Considering you scratch, Competitive Cyclist is having a 20% off a full priced item, one full price item, and I believe that would include the large bags of scratch.
Okay.
So normally I have one of the 20 ounce bags, and there's like a 60 ounce bag that's a little cheaper for the size, but then you can also get the 20% off. Yep. So that's something to keep in mind.
Look at that.
I think the code is gift 20.
Okay.
Is the code that goes in there. I shop there often. I like to let people know. So those are so you're trying to figure out your snacks. Do you have like a bike computer you take on your ride? Like you have the bike computer, you have all the sensors. Have you gotten that deep into it?
Do yes. My sister says I have a knack for sucking the joy out of things because I'm so data. I really like data, and I do. I have a Wahoo on one bike and a Garmin on the other.
Okay, why the split? Okay, all right, keep going.
There is a reason. So I originally bought the Garmin with the whole bundle, and I found it really, really clunky.
Okay.
So I didn't really like it that much.
Okay.
But I had all these points, accumulated reward points at Carytown Bikes from buying a bike.
Yeah.
So I bought the Wahoo bundle on points, and I had intended to sell the Garmin, but it was already hooked up to the other bike, so it just makes it a little easier not to swap out the stuff back and forth.
That's a first. I've heard of not swapping the sensors, but like I'm just gonna have a whole nother bike computer for the other bike. But that's just how it played out.
It's just how it played out. Eventually, I might end up selling the Garmin, but I do like the Wahoo much better. I think it's easier.
Which Garmin bike computer do you have? Do you know? Was it the top of the line one or like one of the mid range or
probably mid? It's
because there's
I can't remember.
How long ago did you get it? 2 years ago?
About a year and a half.
So 530.
That's it.
The 530.
It is the 530. Yes.
Not the 830, but the 530. Okay.
The 530.
Okay. If you were someone would buy it off because if it's the 530, it's a newer one. Which I think is not touchscreen. I think it's
not.
Okay. If someone would potentially will hear this and they want to buy that off of you. But yes, Garmin. I have a Garmin bike computer. I have the Garmin 1030, and Garmin is because they've had bike computers for a very long time. That is one of their, I think that's a fault of theirs, is that they're trying to use their older system they've had and upgrade it for each one of them, and it's built off of that. Whereas Wahoo started later and was able to build it more. I think they built a newer one, so I've heard from others that it is more intuitive to use the Wahoo one. So
yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's just personal preference, but I do really like it. I think for me, it's easier.
Okay. All right. So you like data? Pursue that a bit. I'm a data analyst, so I like I do as well. What do you, when you're riding, what do you have on your screen? Like, what do you like to have on your bike screen?
So it's changed.
Okay.
So when I first started biking, I was really focused on speed.
Okay.
So how fast am I going? And how fast did I go last time? And all that. And what kind of shifted over the summer is focusing more on cadence. So doing that and trying to, adjust gear to maintain the same cadence or kind of range in cadence. So that's been my focus. Now I'll probably shift again, but for right now, that's kind of what I've been focusing on.
Okay. Where you like to stay around through cadence? Is there like a
low 90s is
really?
Where I like to stay now. Outside, that's a little harder than inside, but
okay,
that's what I go for.
Would you ride indoors? Okay. You just have like a trainer, like what's your
a Peloton.
Okay. How do you like the Peloton? How long has that been happening?
I got the Peloton, I think 2 years ago.
Okay.
I like certain instructors on the Peloton and certain courses. I'm I do like it. I do like it. So I like the Power Zone classes, and there are a few. There are 3 instructors who are actual cyclists, not just spin instructors. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
But they're focused more on form and technique and less on dancing and entertaining.
Yeah.
So.
Do you feel the Peloton has helped? Like
yeah, I do.
Okay.
Now I don't know that I would say that if there are different courses for different preferences.
Sure.
Some people just want to spin and have fun and enjoy it without realizing their exercise. But the classes, the Power Zone classes in particular, a few of the instructors talk about different pedal strokes. They'll do single leg drills. There'll be a lot more focus on form.
Okay.
So from that, I felt like I've gotten a lot of almost kind of like personal instruction.
Okay. Well, good. My manager at work has a Peloton. Him and his wife have a Peloton. He's talked about doing the Power Zone classes. And he's come around and asked me questions about pedaling and the forward, like what's this pedal stroke supposed to be like. So I've heard someone else who said they benefited from the Power Zone class in particular. They enjoyed the work on their form as opposed to just like riding and trying to dance on the bike.
Yeah.
Not saying that's
okay.
Nothing
wrong with that, just not my thing.
Okay. Would you tell others to get the Peloton? Do you feel like it's that good that you would sell it to everyone?
Yeah, I would. I think, now that I feel like I'm know more, I would probably do a Zwift or something that is more, that is closer to actually riding a bike.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely. I think, it's you can get a lot out of it, and there's a lot of variety, and it's interactive. Yep.
I Zwift quite a bit. Zwift is great, but you have to put in more effort. Like it's not like training classes kind of thing. Like if you're trying to work on something, you have to find a training program in there and follow the things that prompts come on screen. So you don't have a person kind of there to tell you to do things and that makes more sense to have the person tell you if that's more motivational for doing workouts, riding in certain zones. Like if having the person who's actually, you see them on the bike, they're doing the thing too. Because in Zwift, when you do a workout, you see text come up on the screen. This is like, ride at so-and-so wattage kind of thing. It's not as, people may not as connect as well with it. And I know somebody who couldn't get into it. Like it's a bit too gaming. It's a bit too much like a video game, and they couldn't get into it, and it's not for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, we thought I'd ask about the Peloton because you're the first person I've had on here. No, wait, did Paula say she had a Peloton? No, I think she had something else. Your first person would say they had a Peloton. So I wasn't actually fond of Peloton bikes. I'd never used one, but I just felt so committed to Zwift. I was like, no way could that be beneficial for others, but I'm glad it is working for you. Do you take your bike on your vacations?
Some of them, yeah. Okay. So definitely when we go to Damascus, I'll take my bike. Okay. We went to Shenandoah National Park over the summer. I took my bike. So yeah, it depends. I mean, if I haven't taken it where I've had to fly before. When I went to visit my brother in Austin, I just rented a bike when I was there. Okay.
Flying with the bike is interesting because it's a nerve-wracking thing. I've only done it once. Yeah. Putting the thing, is it going to survive the flight, right? And then it's there, it's great, it's working. Is it going to survive the flight back? And is it worth all of that? Yeah. Is it worth the extra cost of having to sit in your bike? Yeah. Potentially, if you're only going to ride it for like one day, it may not be worth it.
No. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But yes, I'm curious of who takes their bikes on their trips and who does not. I think every time I go out of town and it's multiple days, I've tried to take the bike.
Mm-hmm. Same. Nothing.
Going to see family for Thanksgiving in Roanoke. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to take the bike so I can ride up Mill Mountain because I like to go up to Mill Mountain to the Star. So you were doing some, so you're not brand new to the cycling. You've done some riding, over the years, but not as much clearly.
No, and I hadn't done any events at all, biking events until Cap to Cap this summer.
Oh, so that's okay. Super impulsive. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Go big or go home.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Did you sign up for the? I didn't even ask. Did you sign up for the 100 or did you?
The 100. No, I did the 100.
Wow. Okay. I didn't ask that. Okay. That's vastly more impulsive than I thought it was. I'm just going to do the 100.
And I did it on a gravel bike.
Wow. Okay. Kudos to you.
Yeah, I was kind of proud of that one. Well, it wasn't probably my smartest decision because
But you got it. You did it, and now, and hopefully next year we do it again, right? Mm-hmm. Hopefully, they just opened up the registration for Cap to Cap.
Yeah.
I've not looked at the details if they're trying to do it on one day. I don't know.
It's over two.
Okay. Yeah. You do it on the road bike and see if you perform better. You do the same course and see if you perform better. Okay. So how did COVID happening? How did that kind of impact your riding, if at all? Okay.
A lot. So that was, I still at the beginning of COVID still had my Live bike, and I think I was in the beginning of the COVID Peloton wave. So I was riding, because there weren't any cars out. So riding on the road didn't really, wasn't too scary. I lived near West Creek at that point. So I would go just either ride out to West Creek or just ride at West Creek because no cars, and it was great. And then that's when I really started feeling like I needed to try to get a new bike. But yeah, I was riding. That's when I really kind of amped up my weekly riding. Okay. It was during the beginning of COVID.
I guess that would help with that. I mean, not because the pandemic was terrible. It is terrible. But considering fewer cars were out on the road, I can see how more people might have gotten motivated because, of course, we know thousands of millions of people want to get cyclists. But with fewer cars out, I guess that also would have encouraged people to go out and ride more. Like there's just fewer cars out on the road, so it's a bit safer. I didn't think about that until now, but I definitely remember riding. I remember riding through Carytown some days during like April and May of last year, and there was just no cars. It was great, super smoothly right, but scary because I remember Carytown just being a busy place. But a few rides, the ride would end and it would go through Carytown, And just I remember going through and just no cars parked, no cars behind me. Again, great for a moment, but not great for the why. Why do you keep riding? You've done some events. Like, what's the motivation to go out and do another ride?
I just really enjoy it.
Okay.
I like being out in this type of weather more than the heat of the summer, but it gets me outside.
Okay.
It, as I said, it will definitely help you clear your head. I think that's pretty much it. And I like seeing myself get better.
Okay.
Learn stuff.
Okay.
I think that's a good motivator. And the social aspect is also really nice too. Can't always make that happen. A lot of times I am riding by myself, but it is nice when it can be part of a group ride.
Yeah. I didn't expect the social aspect of riding when I started as well.
Either.
Meeting all the people, all the group rides, and having the fun. I didn't plan on any of that, but it's been great as well. And so you keep riding. Have you tried to convert anyone? Like, since you started riding, did you try to like call any friends and like, this is awesome, you should do this as well? Like, what's your conversion rate?
It's pretty low, I think. I'm trying to convert my sister back into biking because she unfortunately had her bike stolen towards the end of last year, and around then, and she's since replaced the bike. Okay. But she's had a hard time getting back into it because she works so much. So I'm trying to convert her back in, and I'm sure I'm going to be successful at some point. But no, I don't know that I've really converted anybody over to biking.
Events help great. If there's a designated event at some time out in the future, hey, let's do this. Right? Mm-hmm. Then we know how far it is, we know when it is, plenty of time to prepare for up to that time, that kind of thing, as opposed to like not having, like, it's just going to ride. Mm-hmm. So just suggestion.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay. You have kids?
I do have two.
Okay. How do they feel about you riding?
My daughter, I think, my daughter is 17, son is almost 16.
Okay.
And I think she's very proud of it.
Awesome. Okay.
The long rides and, just, I think, especially now that she's driving a bit and realizing how far some of those rides are, kind of resonates more than it did before. My son will bike. Okay. So we bike together some, not as much now that, he's a teenager, but when we go to the mountains, he'll bike and we'll bike together. We were in Florida and he and I bike together, but, they're very supportive, which is good.
So your family understands then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think some of mine understands, and I find it interesting telling people, as you mentioned, like your daughter driving, and now she's understanding those distances, and talking about riding with people who don't ride, and them not comprehending like either the distances, the why you want to do it, like they have that story of like, oh, I sat on a bike and my butt got uncomfortable and I can't do it again. Why do you keep doing that? So I thought that was interesting. Wanted to ask how your family felt about that. So what's your earliest memory of riding on a bike?
Oh gosh, I remember when my training wheels came off. So that's my earliest memory.
Were you happy about that? Or were you upset that the wheels came
No. I think I had been riding the training wheels. I don't think were even touching the ground anymore.
Okay.
So when my father finally took them off and just kind of gave me that push from the seat, I just took off riding because I'd probably actually been riding with those training wheels for quite some time and just didn't realize it. Okay. But yeah.
All right. So your dad taught you how to ride a bike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Nice. Well, that answers the other question. Who taught you how to ride a bike? What's something that you're aware of now, right? That you wish you would have learned very early on in your biking experience? Like, what's something you're like, you wish you had, like, you corrected it, something that, like, you do all the time now, is you wish you had, like, told yourself at the beginning or learned much earlier on, if anything?
Several things. I was trying to narrow that down. I think one of the things that I've learned that has changed the way I bike a lot is always kind of, I didn't change gears enough, for one, but I think I always rode in too heavy of a gear, especially, you know, I'd try to power up a hill, or, you know, felt, you know, I didn't want to use the smaller ring because it just seemed like kind of wimping out, you know. So I would always kind of stay in really heavy gears and just power through rides, and kind of learning over time that's not very helpful. It's a great way to wear yourself out, and just being more efficient, making it as easy as possible. You know, going up a hill or going the distance is going to be much more successful than just trying to stay in a big gear all the time.
How many gears do you have on your bike? Do you know? Or the one you have?
I think it's 24. 20.
Wait.
No. I don't know. 2 rings in the front.
2 rings
20.
in the front. Okay. So 10 rings if it's 10 in the back, and 2 in the front. Then it'd be 20 gears. But I think that what you'd say is like a 10 speed or 11 speed or something like that, because it's just, so you buy a bike now and you would say the bike would be a 10 speed, 11 speed based on the number of cassettes. I'm sorry, the rings on the cassette in the back. But yes, you're right. 20 speed would be the way that it's referred to with gears, the multiplication of the two. Okay.
And the Diverge only has 1 ring in the front, so it has 10 gears.
That's a gravel. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. Do you have a RABA kit?
I ordered one this year. I didn't have one. They weren't available to order when I joined, so I did order one. So hopefully it'll be in soon.
Nice. Okay. I'll reach out to CJ and see if they've arrived. How do you feel about riding with RABA? You found them? Did you Google search them? Like, do you feel better now that you've found like a club? Or you're just like, like how? What's your sense of like finding a club now?
It's been really great. You know, it was funny. It was very intimidating. You know, to not the club itself, but just getting the courage up to go to that first ride. And you know, I thought, oh gosh, there's going to be a lot of, you know, younger, fitter, faster people. I'm not going to be able to hang with this group. And then I realized the ones you have to watch out for are the retirees, because they will drop you like third period French, because they're out there every day. So, you know, it is very inspiring to see all different ages and all different body types and all, you know, just out there, and supportive and different abilities, and it's been a very positive experience.
Nice. Yes, I also felt nervous going to my first ride in RABA. Like, it's, I need to ask more people about that. I'm trying to. It'd be interesting to find someone who went super confidently to their first ride, to their first group ride, wearing the super tight outfit and just showing up super confident. I need to ask more people about that. Okay, so glad to ride with RABA. That is awesome. Rose Memory, who taught you how to ride a bike? Something you don't know, something you learned. How do you feel? Say you're out doing yard work, chores, whatever. You see other people out riding. Do you feel anything when you see other people out riding now?
Yeah, I mean, I want to ride.
Okay.
I mean, it definitely makes me, you know, want to get out there myself.
Okay. All right. Just checking.
Yeah.
Just checking. I've definitely been out somewhere and like seeing people ride. It's like, I don't think I need to do these chores. They can wait. Do you clip in?
Oh yeah.
Okay. How did that? Did you? Okay. Did you immediately clip in? Like when did that happen?
No. So I switched out. It was actually one trip to Damascus. It was after I'd gotten the Live Rove.
Yep.
I was riding with my brother and my sister, and my brother's name's Hart, and he said, if we're gonna ride up this mountain, you're gonna have to clip in.
Yeah.
So he swapped out my pedals to the two-sided, and with like the mountain bike clips, not the Delta. Yeah. So I started getting used to those, and rode with those. I still ride with those on the other bike, but that was kind of my first foray into clipping in, and now I use when I ride the tarmac, I use road clips.
Did you get some practice before you went up the mountain? Like it wasn't like
just on the trail, but not a lot.
Okay, so it wasn't a lot of practice before you went. Okay, as long as it was some practice.
Yes.
Because that would be unwise since it went up a mountain first.
No. It wasn't like change the pedals and let's go. But
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you fallen over trying to unclip?
Oh yeah. So in slow motion. Yeah.
As
so
it is. It's always in slow motion. Yeah, sorry.
I had this is another thing I wish I'd known. So I had changed out the road cleats on my shoes.
Okay.
I'd worn them down, and the original ones, and so I bought the ones that matched my shoes. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't realize that the colors meant different float.
Oh yeah.
So what I had bought were zero float.
Oh.
And I didn't know that, but I knew that I couldn't get clipped in and out. I could not get. Yeah. It was really, really difficult, and I thought, they just need to be broken in.
Yeah.
So I was turning around. I'd gone down to Shiplock, and I was turning around, and I could not get unclipped. And I'm almost at a standstill, and I literally just fell over. On my, it was kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I just fell over sideways because I could not get my foot out.
More embarrassing than injury, right?
Oh yeah, I wasn't injured, thankfully, and the bike wasn't. The bike was fine, so it was. I was very lucky, but then I found out about the different color coding.
And you have since swapped out, so you now have the yellow, the click with the yellow.
The yellow.
Okay. Which I think is 6 degrees of float.
Right.
I think it goes from 6 to 4 to 0.
I was in the red, I think, which are 0.
Okay. Well, lesson learned.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. I don't think the 2-bolt ones. I don't know if there's any float in those at all. I think they just go in. I don't think there's like any wiggle room for those at all.
It feels like there is a little bit, but maybe I don't know. Yeah. I think they're all the same, but it feels like there's a little play in there.
Okay. All right.
Or else I'm doing it wrong. It's one of the two.
Was it just the one tip over? Does it happen again?
Oh no, it's happened. Happened in the other cleats. Again, it was, at a stop, and I just couldn't get my right foot out. And fell over.
So to prevent that, what do you do to prevent that now?
So with that, I changed out my pedals because I had a lot of trouble unclipping, and I think I had probably cheap pedals.
Okay. And
when I switched out my pedals, I didn't have any trouble again out of that.
Okay. Switching pedals.
Yeah. And I didn't do it for that reason. It was when I bought the other bike, and I didn't move the pedals. I bought new pedals for the Diverge.
Okay.
And used the same shoes and never had an issue.
Okay. Did you swap the pedals out, or did someone else like do the pedals?
Carytown, the bike store did.
Okay. Okay. Do you have them doing most of your maintenance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do.
Have you changed the tire yet?
No. Stephen Bolt has changed my tire before.
Okay.
With RABA. We were on a triple threat training ride.
Yeah.
I was in the back of the pace line, and I don't know if I didn't hear it called or nobody saw it, but me when I hit it, but I went right into a pothole and popped my back tire.
Okay.
And didn't have anything on me. So that was another lesson I learned.
Okay.
But Steven changed my tire, fortunately. I think Renata had a tube, and Steven changed the tire and showed me how.
Nice.
That was part of why I never carried this stuff, because I thought, I don't even know how to use this. I don't know how to change the tire. I'd have to YouTube it as I'm doing it. But now I do carry a spare tube and the carbon or the little
the
CO2.
Yeah. I do recommend trying to change a tire at home. In the confines of your home. That way you're not 40 miles out from somewhere and find out for the first time that either you didn't bring all the stuff or you don't know how. But the CO2 cartridges are great, but I don't want to call them a crapshoot, but they're like a one and done. So if you don't get them right and all the air just kind of shoots out to the side, then you've just blown the CO2 cartridge and you still have a flat. And it does not feel fun to then have a flat. Maybe we'll consider, I have a frame pump, a small little pump that's like the size of maybe 2 cigars kind of put together. And I've actually not had to inflate any of my own tires with it. I've actually helped other people inflate their tires with it when they've gotten the flat. I think I've always had the chance gotten pretty good with the CO2 cartridges. Okay, so you have tipped over, so you're normal. You've gotten a flat. I also had someone help me fix my first flat as well on a training team ride in 2017. I got my first flat and got sagged back. I sagged back to the start, actually, because I didn't know how to fix it. So you're not alone in that.
I did think of something else I wish I'd known.
Uh-oh.
This is another Stephen Bolt story. So I rode with him a lot, and he said, your tires are really low. I was like, pumped them up before we went out. So fortunately, SAG was going by, and it was Greg Helmer, and had a pump, and so I put more air in the tire, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, it was a hand pump. I always pump it till it gets hard to pump, and I think I'm done." I had like 40 psi in my tires. It's like, no, look at the side. It takes up to 125 or something. Yeah. So I was riding for the longest time at about 40 psi in my road tires because I didn't know what I was doing.
It seems safe.
So now it's a electric pump that it was just like and it's portable too. Like a $20 on Amazon, and you can calibrate it to 90 psi, and it'll automatically cut off when you hit that. Wait,
you carry a small electric pump?
I don't carry it on the bike. Okay. It will strap to the bike, but it's pretty heavy, so I just use it at home or in my car. Keep it in my car and do it for a ride.
Okay, all right. I asked that because I remember I think it was called the Foompa, and it was a little smaller than this, right? This recording device, and it was an electric pump, and it was small enough you could put it in a jersey pocket, I think it would inflate. It can inflate 2 tires, and you just kind of charge it up, and then you could use it. Yeah,
it's a Cyc Plus, CYC Plus.
Okay.
It was, yeah, it's rechargeable, and it's been real handy because it takes the guesswork out of it.
So what do you put it now? Your tire pressure?
About 90.
Okay. All right. Do you ever adjust that? Do you ever feel like you're going to put a little less, a little more, depending on the day, or just?
I just pretty much stick right around 90.
Okay.
I don't know why. It's not 40.
The other thing with tire pressure, now that you're over 40 psi, is that you may want to, so 90 is probably safe all year. But if for some reason you go up higher and it's a hot day, your tire can burst. So say if your tire can take 120 and you pump it up to 110, you may run the risk of your tire burst. And that's actually how I burst my first two. Is I had the PSI 115, 85-degree day, super hot, and the tire just expanded too much. Or tube expanded rather, and blew out the tire. So if you meet someone who's new, right, who has an interest, not even say new, has an interest in riding, like what would you want to share? Like what's the thing you'd want to tell some person who has an interest in cycling, what would you want to share? And they hadn't been doing, they're not a runner, they hadn't been doing other like serious activities. Like what's the thing you would want to pass on to this person?
I would say if someone's brand new, just go out and enjoy it. I mean, we can make it very complicated and cadence and power and speed and pace, but just go out and enjoy it, and then figure out what you want to do with it after that. If that's all you ever want to do is have a comfort bike and ride on the Capitol Trail, and it's a beautiful thing to do. Or if you, I guess it just depends on what your goals are or what you're trying to do. But, I would say don't overcomplicate it in the beginning. Just go out and enjoy it. And find, hopefully find some people to ride with along the way.
Are you going to ride up any more mountains?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know of a mountain in Lynchburg. It's been named Thunder Ridge.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. Great event, Stormy and Thunder Ridge. Do recommend it. We're riding around Lynchburg in general, so thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah,
Paul would
definitely
appreciate that I mentioned her event. Well, Paige, I like to thank you for your time. And coming out to talk kind of on short notice. Like, normally I'm giving people a little bit more notice. So I appreciate you kind of coming out. And I'm glad the ride went well today.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you.